There are people in this world who don't need your help. They need your absence. You will meet them disguised as the broken, the lost, the misunderstood. They will stretch out their hands not to rise, but to pull you down with them. The truth is, not everyone who cries for help wants to heal. Some only seek to drain your energy, your peace, your purpose. The question is, can you recognize the difference between a soul that needs saving and a spirit that feeds on your strength? There are people who carry storms within them, and instead of finding shelter, they prefer to live in the rain. These are the ones who refuse accountability. They spend their lives pointing fingers outward, never inward. When something breaks in their world, they look for someone else to blame. Their parents, their partner, their job, even fate itself. But never once do they stop to ask, what is my part in this? Such people are dangerous to help because their healing is not their goal. Validation is. When you try to help them, you become the next person they blame when life doesn't change. They will come to you with stories of pain, and you, being compassionate, will listen, encourage, even sacrifice your peace to lift them up. Yet, no matter how much light you pour into them, they remain in darkness because they have decided that accountability feels like punishment rather than empowerment. You must understand something very important. Pain can be a teacher, or it can be an identity. The moment a person chooses to wear their pain as a badge instead of a lesson, they close the door to transformation. To help such a person is like pouring medicine into a closed mouth. It never reaches where it is needed. They will tell you how unfair life is, and you will feel sympathy, but sympathy without discernment turns into slavery. When someone refuses accountability, they also refuse growth. Every conversation becomes a loop, every lesson wasted. You'll think you're making progress with them, but what you're really doing is feeding their story of helplessness. They don't want to rise. They want you to kneel beside them and agree that life is cruel. That agreement becomes the bond that ties you to their misery. The more you help, the deeper you sink into their emotional quicksand. Helping without wisdom becomes a form of self-betrayal. Because when you take responsibility for someone who won't take responsibility for themselves, you steal from them the very thing that could awaken them. Consequence. It's through facing our own mistakes that we find power. But when you remove that lesson from another person's path, you delay their evolution. Not everyone deserves your rescue. Some deserve the silence that forces them to confront themselves. To step back doesn't make you cold. It makes you aware. Sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do for another human being is to let them fall, not to break them, but to show them that standing up is possible only when they choose to. Then there are those who manipulate emotions like an artist plays an instrument. They know exactly which strings to pull to make your heart ache, your guilt rise, your compassion overflow. They appear fragile, but their fragility is a mask. They use it to control. The emotional manipulator doesn't ask for help. They demand it subtly, through tears, through silence, through making you feel responsible for their moods. One day they love you for caring, the next they resent you for not doing enough. Their gratitude is temporary, but their expectations are eternal. And when you finally feel drained, when you say no, they make you question your goodness. They make you believe that setting a boundary is an act of cruelty. Be very careful with such people because their greatest weapon is your empathy. They twist your heart until you cannot tell the difference between love and obligation. They turn your compassion into currency, using guilt as their payment method. You will start to notice that after every encounter, you feel emotionally lighter or heavier. That feeling tells you the truth. If you leave an interaction feeling guilty for something you didn't do, you're dealing with a manipulator. These individuals are masters at painting themselves as victims while quietly controlling the narrative. The more you try to comfort them, the deeper you step into their illusion. Real help empowers. Manipulative help enslaves. When you help someone who manipulates, your kindness becomes the rope they use to bind you. The more you give, the more they expect, because manipulation thrives on endless generosity. You cannot heal someone who uses their pain as leverage. The moment you stop feeding their emotional hunger, they will turn against you, not because you did wrong, but because your withdrawal threatens their control. But remember this, it's not your duty to keep someone comfortable in their dysfunction. Love with clarity, not blindness. Compassion is sacred, but without boundaries, it becomes poison. You can still wish them healing, but you must step away from their storm. Let them face their own reflection in silence, because truth is the only mirror manipulation cannot distort. And then there is the constant victim, the one who makes suffering their permanent home. These people are not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes their sorrow is quiet, poetic, even seductive. They draw others in with their sadness, because sadness makes people want to fix. But no matter how many hands reach out to lift them, they find new reasons to fall again. They've built their identity around being wounded. It gives them purpose, attention, even love. To heal would mean to lose that identity, and that's something they're not ready for. So they cling to their pain as if letting go would erase who they are. You must recognize that not every cry for help comes from a desire to rise. Some come from a desire to be seen. The constant victim seeks an audience, not a solution. They want comfort, not change. They repeat their stories endlessly, not to find closure, but to relieve the sympathy that keeps them relevant. And you, being kind, may stay, listening, advising, carrying their burdens on your back. But each time you do, you teach them that as long as they remain broken, someone will carry them. What they don't realize is that every time they reject responsibility, they also reject their power. The constant victim lives in the past, constantly rewriting their pain to justify why they can't move forward. But life doesn't wait for anyone who refuses to heal. When you attach yourself to such souls, you begin to carry the weight of their stagnation. Their sadness seeps into your spirit. Their hopelessness starts to shape your beliefs. You wake up one day realizing you've been trying to save someone who enjoys being saved. It's a loop of emotional exhaustion. To help them is to feed their weakness. The true act of love is not to comfort them endlessly, but to remind them of their strength and then step back. There is a sacred kind of silence that only awakens when you stop playing the savior. It is in that silence that the victim finally faces the truth. No one else can live their life for them. Some will rise, others will not. But your duty is not to carry every wounded heart you meet. Your duty is to protect your own spirit so it remains capable of loving without losing itself. So be discerning. Not every hand that reaches for yours belongs in your journey. Some are meant to test the strength of your boundaries. The wise do not stop helping others. They simply learn who to help and when to walk away. There are people whose presence feels heavy, even when they say nothing. You leave their company and feel strangely tired, as if they've pulled something invisible out of you. These are the energy leeches, individuals who survive by feeding on the attention, emotions, and light of others. They do not come with warning signs. They come with stories, with needs, with endless chaos disguised as connection. You may meet them as a friend who always needs advice, a partner who always needs reassurance, or a family member who always finds a way to make every situation about their pain. They will not steal your money or possessions. They steal your energy. And what's more dangerous is that they don't even realize they're doing it. The energy leech thrives on emotional reaction. The more you care, the more you feed them. They bring you problems, but not to find solutions. They bring them to transfer the weight. Each time you listen, comfort, or try to fix, they take a piece of your calm. Over time, your spirit starts to feel cluttered with emotions that aren't yours. You begin to carry their sadness, their anger, their confusion. You start waking up tired, not because of your own struggles, but because your energy has been quietly consumed by someone who feeds on your attention. This is why silence, solitude, and self-awareness are essential. Without them, you'll never notice how much of your energy is spent managing other people's emotions. To deal with such people, you must understand the sacred law of exchange. Every relationship should have flow, energy moving both ways. When one side only gives while the other only takes, imbalance grows, and imbalance breeds exhaustion. This is why you must protect your peace as fiercely as you protect your breath. When you start to feel drained around someone, pay attention. Your body speaks before your mind realizes what's happening. That heaviness in your chest, that sudden irritability, that feeling of needing space. It's your inner system warning you that your energy is leaking. You are not unkind for protecting yourself. It is not selfish to step back from those who constantly consume. True kindness requires strength. Without it, compassion becomes a wound that never heals. And then there are those who smile with their lips but hide envy behind their eyes. The ones who applaud your success but secretly wish for your fall. The envious friend is dangerous because they disguise themselves as support. They appear loyal, but their loyalty has limits. It lasts only as long as you stay beneath them. The moment you begin to rise, their energy shifts. They become distant, critical, or quietly competitive. They no longer celebrate you. They tolerate you. These are the people who will sit at your table, eat your food, and still resent that it was you who cooked the meal. Envy is a poison that turns admiration into hostility. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers through sarcasm, subtle jabs, or silence when you deserve applause. You may sense it when you share good news and the room grows cold. You may feel it when someone close suddenly minimizes your efforts or compares your success to their struggle. The envious person doesn't hate you. They hate the reflection of their own unrealized potential that you awaken in them. You become a mirror they can't stand to look at. To help or please such a person is to fight a battle you can never win, because no matter how much you humble yourself, their envy doesn't fade. It feeds on your humility. The more you downplay your light, the more they expect you to shrink. You cannot heal envy by being less of yourself. Your duty is not to make others comfortable with your growth, but to remain aligned with truth. True friends are not threatened by your success. They are inspired by it. And if someone's love diminishes as your life expands, it was never love. It was attachment based on equality of struggle. Envious people often play a silent game. They pretend to support you, but quietly compete. They collect information about your life, not to celebrate it, but to measure it against their own. And when you stumble, their sympathy is sharp-edged. It feels comforting, but it carries satisfaction. This is why discernment is so important. You cannot invite everyone into your circle. Some are meant to watch from the distance. Learn to protect your victories the same way you protect your vulnerabilities. Not every friend is meant to know your next step. Sometimes privacy is power, and silence is your shield. Then there are those who appear helpful, but their help comes with a hidden intention. the false helpers. They arrive in moments of your weakness, offering support, advice, or even protection. But behind their kindness lies a subtle hunger for control. They want to be the reason you succeed, so that they can later claim ownership over your peace. Their help is never free. It's a loan that collects emotional interest. They use your gratitude as leverage, reminding you of everything they've done for you whenever you disagree or choose independence. These are the people who say, "After all I've done for you," as if your freedom is a betrayal. The false helper doesn't want you to grow beyond their reach. Their kindness is conditional. It ends the moment you no longer need them. They want to feel superior, necessary, irreplaceable. But growth is threatening to such people because your evolution exposes their manipulation. When you start to think for yourself, they'll call you ungrateful. When you set boundaries, they'll accuse you of arrogance. They will twist your self-empowerment into rebellion. And if you're not careful, guilt will trap you in their web. Real help strengthens your independence. False help breeds dependency. You will know the difference by observing how you feel after receiving it. If their help leaves you feeling empowered, lighter, and more capable, it is genuine. But if their help leaves you feeling indebted, small, or guilty, it is poisoned with control. You must remember, it is not your duty to please those who disguise manipulation as generosity. Every soul must learn to walk its own path. You can accept guidance, but never allow anyone to chain your wings in the name of love or support. The path of awareness teaches us that not everyone who smiles wishes you well, and not everyone who cries deserves your comfort. Human nature carries both light and shadow. To walk wisely is not to judge others, but to see clearly. When you see clearly, you stop rescuing those who choose not to rise. You stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding, and you stop apologizing for being strong. Wisdom does not ask you to become hard. It asks you to become selective. Because the heart that loves everyone without discernment eventually forgets how to love itself. Protect your spirit. Guard your peace. And above all, remember, your energy is sacred. Every person you allow into your life either nurtures it or drains it. Choose wisely. There are moments in life when your heart will ache because you gave too much to someone who did nothing with what you gave. You poured your time, your energy, your love into them, believing that your kindness could heal what was broken inside them. But some souls are like broken vessels. No matter how much water you pour, they will never be full. These people do not seek transformation. They seek attention. Their wounds are not invitations for growth, but tools for survival. You try to fill them with encouragement, but your words fall into the same emptiness that consumes everything else in their lives. And then, when you look back, you realize that all your giving only left you empty, while they remained unchanged. To help someone who refuses to grow is to participate in their self-destruction. It is a form of silent self-abandonment. You start to carry their responsibilities, fix their mistakes, cushion their consequences. And in doing so, you rob them of the very lessons that could save them. There is a difference between compassion and enabling. Compassion lifts a person when they've fallen, but expects them to learn to stand. Enabling, on the other hand, keeps carrying them so they never feel the weight of their own decisions. Some people will keep repeating the same mistakes because there is always someone who cleans up after them. Until life withdraws that comfort, awakening never happens. Helping without awareness becomes the reason they never change. Life has its own way of teaching accountability, but when you step in too quickly, you interrupt that divine process. Every person must face their own reflection. If they refuse, no amount of your love can replace the confrontation. The heart that always rescues eventually becomes the prison of the one who refuses to wake up. The law of energy is simple. What you feed grows. When you feed someone's weakness through endless rescue, you strengthen their dependency. Sometimes the most loving act is to let the consequences unfold, because only pain that is faced, not avoided, has the power to awaken truth. Compassion without wisdom is like light without direction. It shines everywhere but heals nowhere. To truly help others, you must first understand the balance between empathy and detachment. Empathy allows you to feel their pain. Detachment allows you to remain centered in your own peace. Without detachment, you drown in the emotions of others and lose the ability to guide anyone, even yourself. The wise do not rush to fix, they observe, they understand, and then they decide whether their help will serve evolution or prolong illusion. There is a sacred discipline in withholding your energy until it is truly needed. Because every time you rescue someone who is unwilling to rise, you drain your strength and weaken their potential. Imagine carrying a person who refuses to walk. At first, it feels noble, even holy, but soon your legs tremble, your back bends, and your spirit breaks under the weight of their refusal. The more you carry them, the less they believe they can move. Your compassion becomes their excuse. That is why discernment is the highest form of love. It allows you to see who is truly ready for growth and who simply craves attention. And yet, the world often confuses walking away with cruelty. People will say, "How can you abandon someone in need?" But true abandonment happens when you allow another person to stay trapped in their weakness, just because you fear being misunderstood. Real love is not about pleasing others. It is about protecting what is sacred within you. Every moment spent trying to fix someone who chooses stagnation is a moment stolen from your own evolution. There are souls who can only find their strength when you stop being their strength. Sometimes your absence becomes their teacher. You must also understand that not everyone who suffers wishes to heal. Some people have built their entire identity around their suffering. It gives them meaning. It makes them feel special, even powerful. They wear pain like armor and speak of it as proof of depth. To take that away would leave them feeling empty, undefined. When you try to help such people, you threaten the very story they live by. They will resist, they will argue, and they will twist your help into an attack. You'll find yourself explaining kindness to someone who has decided that pain is the truth. You cannot win that battle because it is not fought with logic. It is fought against the ego's fear of change. And so, you must let go of the illusion that you can save everyone. The sun does not argue with the blind. It simply shines. You cannot make someone see the light if they prefer the comfort of darkness. The path of wisdom teaches that your responsibility ends where another's willingness begins. You are not here to drag anyone toward their destiny. You are here to walk your own with clarity, and those meant to walk beside you will find their pace naturally. When you begin to see life this way, you understand that your energy is not a tool for others to use. It is a sacred force to be shared with purpose. To help wisely means to see clearly, to know when your effort nurtures growth and when it feeds illusion. This is not coldness, this is mastery. Because when your help comes from clarity instead of emotion, it empowers rather than enables. There is an invisible law that governs the soul. What is not earned cannot be sustained. When someone refuses accountability, any peace you give them will be temporary. They will lose it the moment you step away because it was never theirs to keep. This is why the most powerful healers do not heal by removing pain. They awaken the strength that allows others to face it. You cannot carry someone's cross, but you can remind them that they are strong enough to bear it themselves. In the end, you must remember that love is not always gentle. Sometimes it is fierce, like fire that burns away illusion. When you stop rescuing, when you let someone face the truth of their own creation, you are not abandoning them. You are inviting them to awaken. There is no greater kindness than that. Because pain avoided becomes suffering prolonged, but pain faced becomes wisdom gained. Those who refuse accountability, who reject growth, who wear pain as a crown, they will remain where they are until they choose differently. You can't choose for them. You can only protect your peace and continue to evolve, knowing that your light is better used to illuminate your own path than to be wasted trying to brighten the eyes of those who choose to remain closed. There comes a moment when you realize that love without wisdom becomes your weakness. You begin to understand that the people you constantly try to save are not growing, they are surviving on your energy. You call it loyalty, but what it often becomes is self-sacrifice disguised as kindness. Many stay in painful relationships, toxic friendships, and draining situations because they fear being seen as cold, heartless, or unkind. But walking away from those who continuously hurt you is not cruelty, it is clarity. When your soul begins to feel suffocated, it's not because love has disappeared, but because you've mistaken tolerance for compassion. The truth is, love cannot flourish in a place where one person is always giving and the other is always taking. To truly love others, you must first learn how to love yourself enough to stop accepting the pain that disguises itself as connection. Real kindness often requires distance. Sometimes the most compassionate act is not to hold on tighter, but to release what weighs down your spirit. People who truly wish to change will rise even if you step back. But those who were only using your presence as a crutch will fall. Not because you failed them, but because they refused to walk on their own. You must learn to let people face the storms they create, because only through those storms will they awaken. You cannot protect someone from the lessons that life has written specifically for them. The universe never punishes, it teaches. But when you keep shielding someone from their lessons, you interfere with their growth and delay their transformation. When you release those who no longer align with your peace, you are not closing your heart, you are expanding your awareness. You are saying, I will no longer participate in my own depletion. The world will tell you that love means staying no matter how much it hurts. But that's not love. That's attachment mixed with fear. Love gives, but it does not destroy itself to prove its purity. When you choose peace over chaos, you do not stop caring, you start caring correctly. The highest form of love is not to keep saving others, but to stop enabling their blindness. When you allow yourself to walk away, you give the other person a sacred opportunity to see who they become without your constant rescue. The universe has a silent way of restoring balance. It does not reward endless suffering. It honors alignment. When your heart and your peace are in conflict, choose peace. The universe supports those who honor truth, even when truth demands separation. Many believe that self-sacrifice will earn them love or redemption. But the truth is, no one receives spiritual growth through self-neglect. Life reflects what you allow. When you give endlessly to those who never give back, the universe mirrors that imbalance until you learn to choose differently. You are not meant to be a martyr of kindness. You are meant to be a guardian of light. And light cannot survive in constant darkness without boundaries. Understand this deeply. Every time you protect someone from the consequences of their choices, you take away their power to evolve. Pain has a purpose. It wakes us up. When you rush to remove it, you interrupt the awakening. You think you're helping, but in truth, you're prolonging their blindness. Every soul must taste the result of its actions. That's how consciousness grows. If someone's choices keep leading them to destruction, and you keep saving them, you're standing in the way of life's greatest teacher. Real love doesn't say, "I'll carry your burden forever." It says, "I believe you are strong enough to carry it yourself." When you believe that, you give others permission to believe in themselves. There is wisdom in watching someone fall and trusting that they will rise stronger. It's not indifference, it's faith. You must have faith in people's capacity to awaken. You cannot do their spiritual work for them. Every time you fix what they've broken, you steal their chance to learn repair. Every time you speak their truth for them, you silence their voice. To truly love another soul is to let them meet their own reflection, unfiltered, unrescued, unsoftened. It is to trust that pain will shape them into awareness just as it once shaped you. Helping everyone seems noble, but helping without discernment leads to exhaustion and resentment. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. When you overextend yourself, when you constantly give without replenishing, your energy becomes clouded. And when your energy is clouded, your perception blurs. You no longer help from strength, but from guilt. You start doing for others what they should be doing for themselves. That is when help becomes harm. Wisdom is knowing when your assistance uplifts and when it interferes. You are not responsible for every suffering soul you meet. You are responsible for protecting the frequency of your own spirit so that when you do help, your energy heals rather than depletes. The universe operates on exchange. Every act of giving must be matched with receiving, or balance is lost. If you keep pouring love into those who cannot or will not give it back, you'll begin to run dry. Your emotions will shift from compassion to frustration, from peace to fatigue. And when your soul grows weary, you'll start to question your own goodness. But the issue is not your goodness, it's your boundaries. A wise heart knows that you cannot save those who enjoy being saved more than they enjoy growing. Every time you interfere with someone's karma, you take on the weight that was never yours to carry. Let people face their own reflection, their own choices, their own storms. Stand nearby in understanding, but not in rescue. If they choose awakening, they'll rise and walk beside you. If they choose to remain asleep, they'll drift away, not because you abandoned them, but because their vibration no longer matches yours. This is how the universe purifies your path. It removes those who drain your light so that you can meet those who amplify it. To live with compassion and wisdom is to walk a fine line between helping and harming, between empathy and exhaustion. The wise do not give less, they give consciously. They do not walk away from love, they walk toward balance. And balance is the soil in which true love grows. Because love without boundaries is chaos, and chaos does not heal, it consumes. So let people meet their own lessons, and let your heart remain open yet protected, soft yet discerning, loving yet unafraid to walk away when your peace demands it. There are people who do not actually want to be saved. They want to stay where they are because their suffering has become their identity. When you try to pull them out, they resist you, not because they dislike you, but because change threatens the world they've built around their pain. The first step in understanding such people is to see that not everyone is ready for help, and not every act of kindness will bear fruit. Some individuals feed on the attention that comes from their chaos. They speak endlessly about their wounds, but never take a single step toward healing. You listen, you comfort, you give advice, and yet days later you find them back in the same position, repeating the same story. They don't want solutions, they want sympathy. These are the ones who drain your life force by keeping you emotionally hostage to their helplessness. You will recognize them Because every time you finish speaking to them, your mind feels heavy, your energy feels lower, and your peace feels disturbed. Understand this deeply. Compassion is sacred, but it is not meant to destroy you. When compassion becomes self-neglect, it turns into bondage. Helping someone who refuses to help themselves is like pouring water into a broken jar. It never fills and it only empties you. Sometimes, the most spiritual act is to step back and allow life to become their teacher. Pain is a strict instructor, but for some souls, it is the only one they listen to. Your silence can teach them what your words could not. When they feel the absence of your constant rescuing, they may finally face themselves. But as long as you remain their crutch, they will never learn to walk. Another kind of dangerous person is the one who disguises their dependency as love. They make you feel needed, but in truth, they are using your energy to sustain their comfort. You think you are helping, but slowly you realize you are carrying their weight while they walk freely. These individuals subtly convince you that your worth lies in saving them. They say things like, "I don't know what I'd do without you," or "You're the only one who understands me." It sounds affectionate, but it's a chain. It binds your spirit in invisible ways because it feeds on guilt. You start feeling responsible for their emotions, their mistakes, and even their unhappiness. But remember this, no one has the right to make you responsible for their peace. If someone truly values your presence, they will not drain you. They will grow with you. Love is not supposed to weaken, it is meant to empower. If your connection with someone constantly leaves you tired, anxious, or guilty, it's not love. It is dependency disguised as devotion. Do not confuse emotional manipulation with care. A genuine soul does not trap another in obligation. It inspires freedom, not fear. So the wise path is to help, but without attachment, to give, but without becoming the source of someone else's balance. The greatest help you can give a dependent soul is to stop feeding their dependency. There is also another kind of person you must be cautious of. The one who sees your kindness as weakness. To such people, generosity is a door to exploitation. They do not see your heart, they only see what they can take. You will recognize them by how they respond when you say no. When you agree, they praise you. When you refuse, they turn cold. They were never grateful for your help. They were entitled to it. These people are dangerous because they can make you doubt your goodness. They take your compassion and twist it into guilt. They make you believe that boundaries are selfish, but boundaries are the language of self-respect. Without them, even love becomes a transaction. When you keep giving to those who take without conscience, you are not being spiritual. You are being used. Life does not ask you to be a martyr. It asks you to be wise. There is a difference between sacrifice that uplifts and sacrifice that enslaves. The first builds your soul, the second breaks it. Never allow anyone to make you feel wrong for protecting your peace. The kindest people often learn this lesson too late. That mercy without discernment invites suffering. You can love someone and still walk away from their manipulation. You can forgive them and still refuse to participate in their drama. That is not cruelty, it is clarity. True compassion requires balance. It does not mean saving everyone. It means seeing clearly who is ready to be saved. The river flows, but not every tree by its bank drinks its water. In the same way, your energy will always attract those who need it. But you must choose who receives it. You are not meant to heal everyone you meet. Sometimes, your light only reveals their darkness, and that revelation is enough. To help the wrong person is to delay the right one who truly needs you. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is sacred responsibility. Every human being carries a vibration, and when you constantly interact with those whose energy is heavy, You start absorbing their frequency. You might not notice it immediately, but slowly your inner calm begins to fade. You become reactive, restless, or anxious for no reason. This is what happens when you allow yourself to be surrounded by those who refuse to change. The wise do not isolate out of pride. They protect their vibration out of awareness. A peaceful heart cannot grow in toxic soil. So, when you encounter people who constantly resist growth, who misuse your care, or who mistake your goodness for weakness, learn to withdraw with grace. Do not argue, do not explain, do not try to prove your intention. Silence speaks where words fail. Your absence will teach them more than your advice ever could. The moment you stop engaging in their emotional games, they lose control. Some will accuse you of being cold. Let them. They are simply unaccustomed to boundaries. Remember, you owe no one your exhaustion. If you wish to serve the world, start by protecting the vessel that serves, the self. A drained soul cannot pour wisdom, and a broken heart cannot lift others. Therefore, discernment is the highest form of compassion. Know who to help, when and when to let life do the teaching. Because some lessons are not meant to be taught by you. They are meant to be learned through pain, time, and solitude. The wise do not interfere with divine timing. They simply understand when their part in someone's story is over. There are souls who will take your guidance, your time, your energy, and yet, when they rise, they will forget the very hands that lifted them. You must be cautious with such people, because gratitude is not only a virtue, it is a mirror of a person's soul. When someone receives your help but never acknowledges it, it reveals that they were never truly connected to your heart. They were connected to your usefulness. And once your usefulness expires, they disappear. Helping such people is dangerous because they make you question the value of giving itself. They turn your generosity into disappointment and your kindness into exhaustion. You start to wonder if goodness still has meaning in this world. But the truth is, goodness never loses its meaning. It only loses its direction when given to the ungrateful. The ungrateful are not just people who forget to say thank you. They are those who rewrite history to erase the moments you stood by them. They will claim they did it all on their own, even though you know the nights you stayed up comforting them, the times you opened doors for them, the moments you sacrificed your peace just to see them rise. They do not remember, because remembering would require humility, and humility cannot exist in the heart of pride. The wise do not help to be remembered, but they also do not allow their giving to become a tool of exploitation. If you see that your kindness only feeds someone's arrogance, it is time to withdraw. You can still wish them well, but do not continue to invest your spirit where there is no soil for appreciation. Gratitude is not flattery, it is energy alignment. Where gratitude is missing, harmony cannot exist. There are also those who cannot stand to see you at peace. When you rise above conflict, when you choose silence over chaos, they grow restless. Your calmness disturbs them because they thrive in turmoil. These are people who are addicted to problems. If peace enters the room, they find a way to break it. When you help them, they do not heal. They simply find a new issue to complain about. The moment you offer a solution, they twist it into another problem. Why? Because their identity is built on struggle. Without struggle, they feel invisible. You will notice that even when their life improves, they will still find a reason to be dissatisfied. They want attention, not transformation. Helping them becomes a cycle. You fix one thing, they break another, until you are drained, trying to repair what they keep destroying. Understand this truth. Some people do not want peace. They want control. They use their pain as a weapon to keep others emotionally tied to them. If you step back, they guilt you. If you move on, they accuse you. Their chaos is their power, and the only way to disarm them is not by reasoning, but by detaching. Silence is your sword, distance is your protection. When you stop feeding their conflict, it starves. You cannot calm a storm that enjoys raging. When you try to help someone who is addicted to their drama, you become another actor in their play. The wise observe from the shore. They do not jump into waves that do not lead to land. And then there are people who appear humble, but beneath that mask, they carry envy. They will smile at your success, but secretly hope for your failure. You might not see it at first, because they disguise their jealousy as concern. They say things like, "I just don't want you to get disappointed," or "Are you sure that's a good idea?" Their tone is caring, but their intention is to sow doubt. They subtly chip away at your confidence because your light reminds them of their darkness. These people are dangerous to help because their heart does not celebrate your elevation. It competes with it. When you lift them, they secretly resent that it is your hand doing the lifting. If such a person asks for help, you must listen beyond their words. Observe how they react when you succeed. Do they rejoice sincerely, or do they fall silent when others applaud you? True friends grow with you, but false ones only grow bitter. If you share your victories and see discomfort in their eyes, protect your energy. Envy has a silent language. It speaks in comparisons, in subtle sarcasm, in backhanded compliments. The danger of helping an envious soul is that no matter how much you give, they will never feel grateful. Instead, they will try to compete with the very source that uplifted them. They may copy your ideas, imitate your path, or even turn others against you just to prove they can shine brighter. But remember, imitation is the highest form of inner emptiness. It reveals that a person has not yet found their own light. When you recognize envy, do not confront it with anger. Confront it with distance. You do not need to explain your boundaries to those who benefit from your confusion. Some people learn through losing access to you. They understand the value of your light only when it no longer shines on them. This is why detachment is not cruelty. It is wisdom. When you stop trying to help those who secretly compete with you, you create space for people who genuinely grow with you. Your energy is not meant to be spent fighting hidden battles. It is meant to build something lasting, something that elevates both yourself and others who carry good intentions. Every soul you encounter is a mirror. Some reflect your goodness, others your wounds. The key is not to shut yourself off from the world, but to see clearly who deserves your help. True giving does not drain, it multiplies. When you help someone who is humble, teachable, and sincere, your energy expands. But when you give to those who are proud, chaotic, or envious, your energy contracts. You feel it immediately. Your spirit feels heavier. Your clarity fades. That is the universe whispering, "This is not your assignment." Learn to hear that whisper. Wisdom is not only knowing how to give, it is knowing when to stop. There comes a time when the most loving thing you can do is to let certain people face the mirror of their own actions. You do not have to wish them harm. You simply allow life to teach them what your guidance could not. Life has a way of humbling even the proudest hearts. When they return changed, your compassion can welcome them again. But until then, protect your peace. Because your peace is sacred ground, and not everyone should be allowed to walk upon it. In the end, the path of wisdom teaches that not every act of help is holy, and not every request for support is sincere. The world is filled with people who will approach your light for different reasons. Some to be warmed, and others to consume it. The purpose of awareness is not to become cold or distant, but to become discerning. You are meant to give, but not to be emptied. You are meant to love, but not to lose yourself in the process. True compassion is not blind, it is guided by clarity. It recognizes when the helping hand uplifts and when it enables weakness. It understands that saying no can sometimes be the most powerful form of love. You must learn to help without attachment, to walk away without anger, and to stand firm without guilt. For every soul you meet carries their own lesson to learn, their own darkness to face, their own truth to discover. When you stop trying to rescue those who choose to drown, you make room to uplift those who are ready to rise. You begin to realize that your energy is sacred currency, meant to be invested where it creates growth, peace, and transformation. The wise heart does not close. It simply guards its gates with awareness. And once you master this balance between compassion and discernment, between giving and protecting, you will walk this world in peace, helping where it truly matters and resting where it does not.